What's up, fellas? Welcome to Pick Central on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. Football Friday. It's also the Major League Baseball playoffs starting, and they're starting any second, actually, with the Rays and the Guardians. But with Rico and Ev and Carl still doing hot ice, previewing the baseball playoffs, the man who's been behind the glass for so much at Pick Central for years and has been very near and dear to our hearts, done just incredible work around Barstool. It's his day to shine. Rutgers hosting Nebraska, the college football show going to your beloved campus.
Sir. TJ
Hitchings joins us from the other side. How are you, TJ?
Good. Fired up. A lot of long days and nights have gone into making this a reality over the last couple of years. It's a big day for Rutgers, as Bill Belichick would say. I'm excited to show off what we got to the world.
You know what will get you even more fired up, TJ?
Some fireball.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Pick Central brought to you by Fireball, because sometimes life can get serious fast and adult responsibilities can become overwhelming, but everyone needs an excuse to let loose and have a little fun. During the moments of stressful adulting and letting yourself have some fun, Fireball Whiskey is there to help you say F it and free your fire. Fireball takes any event to the next level, whether it's a mundane work happy hour, a crazy pregame, or just watching football with some friends. Fireball is all about flipping the script on life and turning everyday events into ones you'll be telling stories about forever. Fireball's iconic cinnamon flavor tastes fire and goes down easy, making it the ultimate crowd pleaser, and that's why it's the #1 shot in the United States of America. The Fireball 50-milliliter shooters are perfect to ignite a pregame, tailgate, or darty, plus no shot glass needed. Just crack it and knock it back. Next time you're deciding between adulting and fun, say F it and free your fire with an ice-cold shot of Fireball, and I feel like the Fireball could be flowing on the campus of Rutgers today.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We have an unreal spot for the setup. If you're anywhere in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York area, come on down. We have like a huge stage. It's right outside the stadium. You literally can't miss it if you're going to the game. It's going to be a great time. Dave, Dan, Casey, I believe Brandon will be back. I heard there's some like super sick special guests on both the Nebraska and the Rutgers side.
Oh, wow.
It should be a good time.
Hell yeah, man. We'll enjoy it. So the show starts at 5:30.
Show starts at 5:30. Again, it's right outside the main entrance to the stadium. If you go to the Scarlet Walk where the players walk in, you can't miss it. It's right there.
Awesome. Well, TJ, just congrats on your night. I know this is kind of all your worlds colliding with Rutgers and Barstool, and it's just cool to see, man.
Yeah, fire me up. Rutgers money line tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how you feel about the game? We both
Lock it in.
We both got Rutgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. Like, I think that we're just gonna run it down their throats. Don't put the ball in the air literally at all unless it's an emergency. Run the ball 45 times. Sam Brown gets in the end zone a couple times. Kyle Monungai maybe takes the ball. 5 or 6 quarterbacks might play for Rutgers. Who knows? Get a win. Wins are wins.
Hell yeah. Sold out crowd already.
Yeah.
Freaking Barstool's college football show. It's going to be rocking at Rutgers tonight.
I believe the stat is that Rutgers is, I think, 16-8 all-time in Shiano night games. So we have that home field advantage. First back-to-back sellout since 2014. Should be seen.
Hell yeah, man. Well, anything special you have planned for tonight?
We got some things planned. It should be maybe a Tim Hitchings on camera appearing.
Oh, wow.
So a Tim Hitchings Big Cat meet face-to-face moment might happen.
Oh, man.
It should be fun. If you're not in the area, tune into the Barstool YouTube channel, 5:30. It'll be a great time.
Awesome. Well, TJ, have fun, man. I know you're busy as hell today. We're all pulling for you, Barstool College Football Show, and back in Rutgers tonight.
Thanks, guys.
We're all Scarlet Knights tonight, all of us.
Big Ev joins us for the Friday Pick Central. I know you just got off hot ice, and, man, a lot to discuss there. Major League Baseball playoffs starting today. 3 games. The Guardians.
4 games today.
4 games, I'm sorry. Guardians and Rays went ahead and went off a second ago, I believe.
Yeah, I think 12:07 about for first pitch in a couple minutes.
We're going to run through those, and then we're going to get to the college football Friday. Plenty of stuff to discuss today. I want to start with that first game, though, the Rays-Guardians. I've never seen an over-under of 5.5 on a non-7-inning baseball game, ever. Yeah,
I'm on the over. I took the over. So I'm on the Guardians as well. This is a tale of two teams. Like one team that's limped into the playoffs. I mean, the Rays, I think they've lost. I think they're 2-9. They lost 11 coming into the playoffs. Cleveland's been just red hot, especially the second half of the season. I don't know. I just think the line's too low. I mean, these two teams. I mean, the Rays are just one of those teams. Like the way they've just constructed their roster, they kind of just constructed their team to always have an edge over the pitching. Like they're a team that doesn't rely on forcing guys. Say like a lefty that hits lefties bad. They're never in a spot where they're forced to play guys like that. Like they have guys that hit righties well, have guys hit lefties well. They've done a good job putting their roster together that way. And I mean Cleveland on the other hand, they kind of have this roster, especially their batting lineup that's not sexy on paper, but if you've been paying attention this year, a lot of really good hitters top to bottom. I just think 5.5 is too low. And just how hot the Guardians have been. I mean, at home, McClanahan's very good as well, and they both have good bullpens. So on some level, I understand why it's low, but 5.5 I think is just too low. I mean, we'll see what happens this year with the playoffs in terms of the balls being dead or popping. But I mean, there was a ton of playoff home runs last year. I'm hoping for the same this year because I'm on that over. So yeah, I mean, I like the Guardians, like the over. I'm riding the hot hand and the I don't know. I just think the number's low.
Well, we're going to get to all the games, 4 games today. We'll run through the rest of them as well. Also, tonight, huge stream in Hoboken from the Gambling House for the Mets, Padres. Dave and Dan both going, I believe.
Yeah, I think right after the show, they're just headed straight back to
I can't
Hoboken,
wait.
yeah.
This is one of the most anticipated Barstool streams of the year. I mean,
I love going to the games and doing the videos at the game for cheeses, but this is one stream I'm upset I won't get to watch.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be so packed over there that I don't think I'm going to go because
a lot of Mets. We got legitimately have 6-7 Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I believe this KFC, Clem, Rico, Clemmer,
Frank,
Phil, and then Dave, Dan,
yep,
Kyle.
Kyle.
Kyle Jelling, yep.
Dude, what a lineup. I feel like there's going to be some clips coming out of this one.
And I was saying this in holidays too. It's the rare fan base where, like for example, people like to make fun of that we have kind of like a motley crew of Yankees fans. But the one thing with the Yankees fans I will say is we're rowing the same boat.
Y'all all get along.
Where the Mets fans, like whether they winning or they're losing, like they're at each other's throats. It doesn't matter if they're up 10-0 or down 10-0. They're all over the place. So it's just guaranteed chaos.
Yeah, the stuff with Frank, I just want to see if KFC and Clem lose it on the street.
But it's like it doesn't matter. Like it's so funny because, like I said, it doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter like what inning it is, what the situation is. There's just always gonna. I mean, Frank sees
no matter what.
Frank, if Scherzer opens up, it's a 1-0 count. He's like, oh, it's over. And then it goes the other way where then if it actually all of a sudden the Mets get down 3-0, then it really is this thought of like he's saying it's over, and then the more positive Mets fans are kind of trying to keep it together, but also you're realizing it's game one. It's game one of a 3-game series. You're down 3-0, and then like you said, Dave and Dan just throwing monkey wrenches and everything. That's just gonna be haywire, absolute chaos. Much watched stream. I honestly think it could be some of the best streams that we have at Barstool.
I agree with that.
Unbelievable content, unbelievable entertainment.
Speaking of a transition with Frank, I mean, he looked. I guess he just likes things to go bad because he was happier last night on that Thursday night football stream. I was sitting by him and you and I were both you commented a bunch. I've never seen him laugh so hard.
It was just so funny. He was giggling the whole game. I just thought it was so funny. Just the word, like literally every punt, every time they didn't convert a third down, it was like Dave Chappelle just told his best punchline ever. Just laughing, bombs away laughing. I just thought it was hilarious. I was happy to be on the right side of the Colts. I mean, the Broncos are just disaster.
Yeah, so last night, it was a bummer because the Pick Central parlay hit 3 of the 4 legs, and Hines went down second or third play. But
and it definitely would have hit, too.
Field goal's over because we were on the right side of everything. I mean, I was really bummed, man. I hate that because we had a really good one. It was like 11-1. Stephen Shea hit the FFF pod parlay. Props to him, trying to save the dignity of that thing. Got to give him a shout out for that. I was enjoying the game. I had the first half under, the alternate under, and the game under. I mean, that's the second one. I mean, we had 12-9 and 11-10, the 2 Broncos home primetime games now. And, man, the Russell Wilson performance last night, I mean, there was just so much to it. I mean, Matt Ryan was awful too, but his line wasn't blocking and his receivers couldn't separate. Russ's stuff, I mean, how you throw an interception there when the Colts were out of time? That was just – when they were up 9-6 trying to drive to put the game away, when the Colts are out of timeouts, how can you throw an interception there? I mean,
and the weird thing about it was he was open. It was – I understand it would definitely risky to make that kind of play call in that spot. But he threw the ball so far behind him. Like, if he hits him, it's a touchdown. But he threw it way behind him. Gilmore's obviously a very good corner, gets picked off. So it's almost like a weird, I don't know, like it was there to be executed, and he just didn't execute.
Yeah, and then you could say that on the final play too on the fourth down. Well, first of all, what'd you think of Hackett going for that final fourth down?
He should have went for it.
Okay.
I mean, because think about
run it.
It was 4th and 1 on like the 6 or 7, something like that.
There's only 3 minutes left.
There was,
so, if you kick a field goal,
under 3.
You kick a field goal, you're going to tie or you're going to lose.
Kicking the field goal, you're basically saying I'm good with a tie.
Well, and they also get the ball back and a chance to win.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying I'm good with a tie, basically at best, because you know they're not going to let you get the ball back. They're either going to score or it's going to be a tie. So I mean, I'm good with it. I think it would have been. Listen, he's been roasted as much as any coach probably ever has in his first 5 games, but I almost think if he kicks the field goal, it's almost worse.
Well, yeah. I mean,
maybe I'm wrong, but I just think if he kicks the field goal, that is the biggest chicken shit call of all time. Especially it was 4th and like 12. I would understand kicking it, but 4th and 1. I mean, you got to go for it. You can't play for the tie.
It's just he threw it and then. KJ Hamler just wide open on that play.
Twice he had him on the initial read, and then he had him if he just catches the snap and hits him, he's right there for the touchdown. And even the safety kind of came over, and he even had him again in the back in the end zone, and just forced it to the other guy. I mean, he throws the helmet. He was pissed off. I just feel like this is a team that's in a spot to really go downhill. Like they're lucky to be 2 and 3. To be honest.
Very.
And I just think this is really a time where finger pointing. I mean, Russ has just gotten almost weird. Like it's just
Bob's weird.
It's just so obvious that he's just so unauthentic and he's so fake. Like he's just not a real human being. He's just this like programmed robot. Like he's programmed himself to just play this character. And even after he's at the podium in all pads and he's like, Broncos country, let's ride. Like, bro, what are you talking about? You just played like dog shit national television for the 3rd time in a row. You stink. Your team stinks. Everything around you stinks. Like, what are we doing?
Thank you guys. Broncos country. Let's ride.
Like, what do you mean? Like, let's ride where, you dumb asshole? Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, he's riding to the bank because the 250. I mean, 250 million apparently doesn't buy.
Like, what do you mean? Let's ride. Like, ride what? Ride what? You're riding the Broncos off a fucking cliff. They invested the entire franchise into your disaster.
This is only year 1, and they can't get out of this thing.
No, I mean, it's just he's just like he just also just in the locker room. He just seems like a guy you can't relate to. Like, imagine these receivers like having and not that you got to like drink, right? But just having like a beer with this guy, or just even having to sit down and hang with this guy. Like he's just a weirdo. Like he just comes off to me like a total, just very inauthentic, total weirdo, and he's not playing good football. So once the good football goes out the window, like think about it in Seattle, even these last couple of years when the defense wasn't as good, the team wasn't as good, he was still playing good ball. So he was able to kind of get away with the antics and the weird like stuff with Sierra and whatever. Once you play bad, I mean, all that shit's out the window. Now everyone's just looking at you like, what are you doing, guy? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and just the thing, too, I mean, I get back to it. It's just the contract thing. I mean, it's one thing if it was, they took a shot on him for a year and it sucked. But, I mean, they're screwed for the next 4 or 5.
They're fucked.
They're totally screwed.
If something doesn't turn around, they are fucked.
I mean, it looks and I mean, you're also going to see the defense is playing so hard for them. And
for sure.
Have them, and the Broncos have had problems in the past where the defense gets pissed at the offense in the locker room the last few years.
So yeah, because the last week against the Raiders, they had a pretty bad performance. They got ran on quite a bit, but the defense as a whole this year for them has played pretty well for sure. You definitely can't point fingers at the defense.
No, it's bad, and like you said, very lucky to be 2 and 3. And hey, guess what? We got more primetime Russell Wilson. We got a Sunday morning London game coming up against Jacksonville, and then we got a Monday night game. I think not this next week, or maybe it's
I think 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah, man, just every Russell Wilson Denver offensive performance in primetime. But hey, at least we hit the unders. Getting back to the Major League Baseball stuff, and then we're going to get into college football for Football Friday. 3 other games to talk about. We just mentioned the Guardians Rays, Phillies Cardinals. Pretty interesting series here. I actually am on over 6.5 in this game. I like that a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on this Phillies Cardinals game?
I'm on the over 6.5 as well.
Okay, awesome.
Although so I'm on the Cardinals as well. I'm seeing a lot of love in the Phillies, and I understand it because Wheeler on paper I think is like the sexier pitcher, the better pitcher. Quintana's kind of had like a little bit of not a roller coaster career, but he's had his ups and downs. But I mean, this year Quintana's been incredible, especially the second half of the year. He's went deep into games. Which we might not matter a ton in the playoffs. I mean, when it comes to playoff baseball, usually you're trying to you want your starter to get through 2 full batting orders.
Yeah.
And then once it comes that third time, you're looking to try to get in the bullpen. Cardinals have a good bullpen. But I think Quintana's in a good spot here to get you like 5-6 solid innings. And he's the guy that throws you kind of more like he's not blowing you away with the fastball. He's throwing the sliders and the curveballs and that kind of thing. But I kind of just trust a little bit more the Cardinals' pedigree at home. And I understand the Phillies have probably played a little bit better down the stretch. That's probably true. I know like Goldschmidt struggled a little bit the last few weeks of the season, and some of the big hitters in the Cardinals, like O'Neill, hasn't been good. But I don't know. I think playoff time they kind of just turn on a little bit. I trust them at home here with a Phillies team that really, they haven't been in the playoffs in a long time.
Big accomplishment just to get here.
For sure. So I'm taking I don't think it's crazy to say the Phillies could win the series, but I think the Cardinals take game one. I'm on the Cardinals.
Okay. I'm just on the over in that one. Next game, Seattle-Toronto. Kind of a fun matchup here for both fan bases. Two teams. Toronto hadn't been in the playoffs since the Bautista fight with the Rangers.
Yep.
Seattle hadn't been here in quite some time, too. And good pitching matchup here with Manoah.
Really good.
Manoah of the Blue Jays and Castillo of the Mariners. I actually went under 7 here.
So this is not an official play for me. My lean is the under.
Okay.
I'm not playing it because I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it, but I think I am on the under. I would play the under if I had to play something. I think these are two big-time guys that show up today, Castillo and Manoah. I love Manoah, just the big hoss. Also, crazy thing, too, well, not crazy, but the atmosphere in Toronto for these playoff games is always insane. If you remember, like, the Bautista days and stuff, like, it is nutty there in the playoffs. And I expect nothing different today. So, yeah, I like the under. I think this is, I'd say not high, so I think this is like a 3-2 game. So I would lean the under.
And finally, Padres and Mets. We got the live stream in Hoboken, like we mentioned. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
This is another one. I don't have an official play. I really wish I could watch it. I'll be at the Rutgers game, so I won't get to watch it. I'd probably lean Padres, and honestly, not even to really hate on the Mets. I think the Mets fans have almost talked me into the Padres with how well they've matched up against them in the past. The Padres have really had their number, and I do think I am a big Yu Darvish guy. I think Yu Darvish is very good. Listen, Scherzer's a fucking bulldog. I don't think you're gonna get rich bet against Scherzer very super often, but I don't know. He hasn't looked great in his last couple starts, especially the last one. But I would say if I had to pick something, I think the Padres plus money is not a terrible play.
Over under 6. Padres coming back at plus $1.28 right now. So that is a pretty solid price. Boy, the energy in that stadium, this being a 2 out of 3 series, the Mets do.
Oh, it'll be electric in Citi Field for sure.
Yeah, I got
the fans will show out, no doubt.
Colin and Playboy Marty are both going. I'm glad for those guys to get to just experience that. There's nothing like playoff baseball. And this kind of feels like the super regionals in college a little bit. The 2 out of 3 thing.
The only thing that scared me with the Mets, too, is they're playing this game where they're saying they're only starting to go around game 2 if they lose, which I just think is a little weird. I don't know. I don't love that. I just don't love that mentality. I just think if you're in the playoffs, you need to go in and say, hey, we're gonna win it however we can get it done.
Yeah.
I think getting all tricky and being all right, we're gonna go Bassett if we lose, or excuse me, Bassett if we win, DeGrom if we lose. I don't know. Could it work? Sure. I'm just not crazy about that. Not crazy about that philosophy. Going into a 3-game do-or-die playoff series.
Look, I agree. I'm not totally for it either. Before we get into college football, let's talk about the number 1 digital wallet for gamblers, Skrill. Create your free account at Skrill.com/Barstool because Skrill is the perfect digital wallet for sports bettors. Coming soon to the Barstool Sportsbook, Skrill is a digital wallet perfect for moving money around for gamblers such as myself and Ev. It's for money movers and makers, allowing you to instantly deposit and withdraw your money. Whether they are playing games like poker or betting on your favorite sports, Skrill helps you manage your bankroll. It's one of the safest and most secure digital wallets, and once it's part of the Barstool Sportsbook, you'll be able to deposit and withdraw instantly with no limits. Keyword there. Skrill also lets you transfer money to another Skrill member and take advantage of some of the best money transfer rates around. So make sure to sign up at Skrill.com/Barstool to create your free account and complete the account verification by clicking Follow the Game after registering so you can start using the Skrill digital wallet today. Yeah, I've always loved Football Friday with you, and I miss Rico today because I love going through the college football board, and we've got an interesting one this Saturday.
For sure.
There are a few games that are interesting. for sure. We'll get into the Friday night games later when we make our picks. There's 3 games tonight. None of them are like the most appealing, but you know what? I'm hyped up for Rutgers. It's gonna be sold out. They're a home dog. It's a big spot for them. I'd like to see them do well, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Blackout as well.
Yeah,
Blackout.
we'll get into. We're going to start running through college football. We'll start with the noon games where all lines are on the Barstool Sports book. Mississippi State 9-point favorite over under 57.5 against Arkansas. Arkansas coming in reeling, got kind of heartbroken by A&M 2 weeks ago. Fought back from a 28-0 early deficit to Bama to make it 28-23, and then Bama extended it. Now Arkansas's catching 9. This was 9.5. There's been questions about KJ Jefferson's health all week. The Arkansas quarterback makes me think he's playing if it went 9.5 to 9. He's also from Mississippi.
You think it'd only be a half point though?
I don't know. I just feel
the more I guess I could. The last I had seen was that it was leading towards that he wasn't.
Okay,
but that was like a day or two ago. So I'm not. This to me was a game I probably was just kind of like not really interested in, to be honest, because of that news and not really knowing. This was like never really on my radar that I was really going to make a play on it, to be honest.
No, that's fine. Mississippi State coming off a big win at home over A&M, but 9's a lot in SEC. So we'll wait and see what we can find out about Jefferson. Running through them, I've got thoughts on, here's an interesting, this is just a spot gambling play, and Ev, you look for this stuff a lot too. This is like on the surface, you'd think Florida at home by 11 over a Missouri team that just got heartbroken in OT at Auburn and could have easily beaten Georgia last week. You'd think, damn, why would you lay 11 with Florida here? But the spot. Missouri had a 19-9 lead in the fourth against Georgia in a Saturday night game, got their hearts ripped out, and now they got to go to Gainesville for 11 a.m. on a quick turnaround. I actually kind of called Oregon State in a similar spot last week at Utah. It was very similar when they lost to USC at home in a big one. And I actually like Florida laying even 11 here. I just think it's a situational play against Missouri.
Mitzi, you might hear me talk about this later in college football show. I'll leave it. I love Florida.
Yeah. Good. You make me feel good.
Like love.
It's a lot because of how it sets up.
Love Florida, yes. I think big time letdown spot for Mizzou.
Yeah.
I think Florida's starting to get I think Florida's starting to get their offense rolling a little bit. They played better at Tennessee. Listen, Mizzou played it. They played hard against Georgia. I don't think Mizzou is a very good football team. I still think they're not. I still think they stink. I just think Florida's better. They're much more talented. I think coming to the Swamp's a tough spot. Like you said, early. I would not be shocked if Florida won this game by 20+.
Yeah, that's
kind of what I'm thinking. Florida's an official play for me. It's on the card. Wink, wink. It's a very strong play on the card. Love Florida.
Oh yeah, you made me feel good because I feel like we're seeing a lot of the same stuff out of that one. And so much of college football is catching teams in the right spots, and I think people don't look for that necessarily enough. All right, let's talk about the Red River rivalry. First time Oklahoma and Texas have played each other where both teams are unranked since 1998. Wow, that's a wild stat. Texas laying 8 in a hook here, man. It's gotten ugly for Oklahoma.
Numbers keep going up and up, too.
Yeah.
It was like 6. I think it opened at like 5 or 6. It just shot up.
How's Gabriel's health? What are you hearing on that?
I think they're honestly don't really know. I was trying to look at it a little bit. It was seeming to me like I thought he was just playing. Like it seemed to me like he's playing. And that's why I was kind of surprised that the number just keeps going up. It was one of those that when it jumped out early, my knee jerk was like, ooh, I might keep my eye on Oklahoma this week. Maybe a bounce back. I just don't know if I trust them. And just my eye test, I do think Texas is a much better football team. I don't know if I'm going to play a side. If I was to play something, it probably would be the over.
65 and a hook.
Because Ewers is back for Texas. I do think Texas is going to be able to score quite a bit. I think Oklahoma should be able to score enough to get the total. So if I had to play some of this game, I'd play the over.
I might end up taking Oklahoma just because rivalry game.
I don't blame you.
I always like taking the points in rivalry games, man. And Texas is like, I just don't know if I trust them yet.
It is almost for Texas, even though for Oklahoma, even though it's so early, it is a little bit of a last stand. And I'm curious, kind of the approach if Venables is really going to try to clean up this defense in a week, or if he's going to kind of have the mindset, hey, listen, there's so much to clean up on this defense. It's going to take me a year or two to get this figured out with the mess that he inherited. That I don't know. I don't blame you taking Oklahoma. I mean, if there was a game that they were going to show some heart, show some life, this would be the game, I think. But I'm just worried that Texas is just that much better.
Interesting game here that's not getting a lot of love nationally, but this Purdue-Maryland game is interesting because Maryland's been winning. Purdue coming off a big road win at Minnesota. I feel like it's a weird spot for Purdue's second road game in a row.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a weird spot. It's tough to get up on the road again. Maryland's playing pretty well, so I'm kind of looking at Maryland by 3. Also, do you think over 58.5? Could this game get a little wild?
I think so. I mean, listen, Oklahoma. Purdue can throw the ball really well. Obviously, so can Maryland. That's kind of both what they do well. So I don't think the over's a crazy look. Both their strengths are they want to throw the football.
Reminder, like and subscribe to the Barstool Sports YouTube channel. And Pick Central released as a podcast every day, too. So if you don't catch it, we will be re-releasing it as a podcast. And shout out to Zah, Booze, and Ebo.
Just a like. Just right now, just stop.
It ain't hard to click the thumbs up button.
It's free. Just please.
There's 1,300 of you motherfuckers in there. Come on. Let's get 1,300
Please, so much.
likes,
Thank
man.
you so much. Click that like button. We love you. Thank you.
So much talk about this next game, boy. And we're going to be streaming, by the way, at noon Eastern on Saturday from the Hoboken House.
Yep.
So it's Oklahoma, Texas. It's Tennessee. We'll get to Tennessee, LSU in a minute, but let's talk about TCU and Kansas. Who knew beginning of the year, college game day, going to Kansas not for basketball, but for football. TCU a 7-point favorite, low over under of 69, and rightfully so in this matchup. Ev, it seems like you've been a little back and forth on this one this week.
All week. I think I would have talked off camera with you about it. I've really been, because part of me is like this line's big for a reason. TCU goes in there, kind of finally humbles Kansas. Kansas is a great story. They finally go and get blown out. But part of me is, listen, Kansas is incredibly well coached. Even though I do believe Iowa State should have beat them last week, I was impressed that they were able to kind of like hold their own, win a scrappy, low-scoring game, which all their games prior to that have been high-scoring. This is so tough because I want to bet on it because I really I'm going to be watching it. One of the games I'm most excited to watch. Gun to my head right now, I'd probably take TCU because I just think it's maybe the time to get off the Kansas bandwagon. But I just think Kansas kind of has some magic in them. They have some fight. And it's hard for me to get 7 at home and fade that. It really is. That's the part I'm trying to get my head around, just fading them when they're getting 7 at home. It's tough. It's very tough. I don't have a plan on it right now. Another one, I don't think that you can go totally wrong with the over. I think they both should score quite a bit. Kansas is giving up big points to Houston, big points to West Virginia. I think TCU is the best offensive at all of them. I think TCU is definitely the best team out of all the teams Kansas has played.
I'm still looking at Kansas +7 here. What's weird, though, is in theory, you would have thought, man, letdown spot for TCU after just crushing Oklahoma last week. But how could it be a letdown when you got College game day?
For sure.
It's a huge game all of a sudden.
They both are kind of Kansas beating Iowa State, kind of a really game they had to. It took Iowa State missing 3 field goals for them to lose that game, or for them to win that game. But no, I agree with you. They're both they're both undefeated in seasons that no one really expected them to have this early.
Well, if you had Kansas to win, what were Kansas' odds to win the Big 12? It might have been
100 to 1.
I think it might have been 200.
More.
It might even be 200. I don't have one of those tickets, unfortunately. But man, if you have one of those, you've got an all.
See, the problem with Kansas is they probably won't be favored again this season. Unless they go win this game and something changes. If you look at their schedule, they probably won't be favored again. They've got they basically have to play all the rest. They have to play Texas, Kansas State. They got to play all these good Big 12 teams down the stretch.
Yeah, the thing is the Big 12 too. There's not really any.
Kansas was plus 30,000 preseason.
300 to 1.
Jesus Christ.
300 to 1. All right, well, I can't wait to talk about this game with you because this, to me, just a fascinating matchup in Death Valley with Tennessee and LSU. Tennessee, a 3-point favorite. I actually think if you do like LSU, go ahead and grab the 3 now because it's been going between 3 and 2.5 all week, and you want to make sure. Ev, you always are really good about that, about making sure you get that half a point. Over under 65. Apologize, kind of burped there. Over under 65 high in this one. You got kind of like it's like whatever the opposite of the immovable object and indestructible force. You've got the LSU passing offense, which is struggling. Jaden Daniels with 80 yards last week against Auburn, against the 128th ranked pass defense in college football in Tennessee. So what's going to give there? Is that I kind of feel like Daniels is going to play a good game. I
already locked in the play. I'm on LSU +3.
I am too.
I love LSU. I just think this is a line for me, especially if you kind of just my general philosophy on gambling. This is a classic. Like, the line makes no sense, so it makes perfect sense. Take LSU. I don't know. I just think it's a tough spot for Tennessee. I think people sleep on LSU has played some primetime games, like obviously the Florida State game. They didn't look good. They have some spots they haven't looked good, but I mean they've won since then. I think this is a game where Brian Kelly kind of shows up. Butte's back after having the kid. I think he should give Tennessee problems. And I mean, Tennessee hasn't been able to stop literally anybody. They can't stop anybody. Are they going to score? Sure. But I mean, LSU's defense is pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. They've had guys out, and they've still been pretty damn good. I just think this is a really tough spot, tough matchup. LSU just plays incredibly well at home in Death Valley. I wish this was a night game, but noon game, they're still going to be rocking, I'd imagine, 100%.
Sold out.
I like LSU. I think LSU is very live to win this game. You're going to give me the 3, I'll take it.
I'm actually going to look at some player props in this one too, and I know people are going to just laugh in my face on this, but I really feel like this sets up for Daniels to have his best game. Coming off that Auburn ugly win, I had Auburn last week +8. Everybody always gives me crap, because acting like I support LSU all the time. I bet against them last week, and I made money. This is like a way better spot for them, though. Sold out crowd. Everybody's acting like at 11 a.m. ain't going to have a big crowd. Yeah, right. It's sold out. They hate Tennessee. It's going to be rocking like crazy. And I'm thinking about maybe putting together a parlay plus. I'm thinking maybe Daniels over passing yards. Butte due for a good game. Hadn't had one yet. Just had the kid. This feels like the breakout spot against the Tennessee pass D and LSU money line. Kind of thinking about maybe a little Louisiana parlay plus.
No, I like it
on the sports book here.
No, and I agree with you. Anthony Richardson had to throw a touchdown pass, and he just lit them
460
up in Tennessee. No, I agree with you. I think Daniels has a big passing day. I think LSU in general has a big offensive day. Really, really like LSU.
All right, next up, just got to mention, man, South's oldest rivalry. You always think of such great games between Georgia and Auburn. Georgia, 29.5-point favorite. Over under 49.5. I still can't take Auburn. I'm not betting it. I know Georgia had such a crappy, sluggish effort, but they're always going to be up for playing Auburn because of how much they hate them. Auburn playing that third-string quarterback had a good first half against LSU. But, man, y'all want to talk about some crazy stats? Check out Auburn's second-half offensive stats under Brian Harsin. Like, I'm talking they never score. Going back to last year and this year, they've had several games where they get these leads. I mean, last year they beat Mississippi State 28-3 second quarter and lost. They're beating LSU 17-0. And, I mean, they're scoring 3, 0, 6. And you know what that says? Your coaching staff stinks.
Yeah, no.
Your halftime adjustments are that bad. But I'm not laying the 29.5 here, though. I just think it's too much.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to take under 49.5 now.
Okay. I don't hate that
Auburn's
play.
D plays hard still, and they're playing Georgia. They'll fight.
You know, I don't hate that play. Yeah, I have no play on the game.
I think Georgia's going to win like 34-3. All right, next up, as we continue to go through the college football board on the Barstool Sports book, Oklahoma State 9.5 at home against Texas Tech, over under 67. I got no clue. You got anything?
This is tough. The only set I have seen is Oklahoma State has been incredibly, incredibly good against the spread in conference. Mm-hmm. I think like 9-1 or 10-1 their last 10 or 11 or so. This is tough though because Texas. I like what Texas is doing. I like their coach. He's scrappy.
Guar.
They should have covered the back last week. They were inside the 20. Smith ends up throwing a pick. They don't cover, and they were in that game live. They had a chance to win that game even against Kansas State at Kansas State. Now going on the road again to Oklahoma State on a team that I do think is better. It's a tough spot. I'd say I lean Oklahoma State. Maybe it gets on the card. I'm not sure, but probably not. But I'll lean Oklahoma State just because I do think they are the most complete team in the Big 12. They've been very good in conference against the spread. They're at home. I like Gundy as well. I'll lean Oklahoma State.
Okay. I'm just staying away. I have thoughts on this next game, though. Huge Pac-12 game lost in the shuffle. UCLA off a huge win against Washington last Friday night. Utah has owned them in this series. I didn't realize how bad it was until I looked into it this week. Utah's beaten the hell out of them 4 times. DTR has been seeing Utes in his nightmares for 4 seasons. But guess what? I like the Bruins anyway. Give me the 3.5. I'm a home dog fan. I think UCLA is pretty good. And I also just think Utah, one of the most dramatic home road split teams in the country. We saw them lose at Florida week 1. I think you can get them on the road. They're like it. They get USC at home next week. I could see a world here where Utah loses this outright and smacks USC at home next week.
Yeah, I've been talking about that USC game for a while. They obviously have this game first with Utah. It's a game that this is, to me, Utah's kind of like make or break game, even though I know obviously it's crazy to say that with USC coming to town next week. But I just think I'm just so confident in the way they match up with USC that if Utah can get through this game with a win, I think they can potentially be a playoff team. I think if they can get through this game, they might not lose again. And be like 11-1, 12-1 Pac-12 champions. A really tough line. I lean Utah just because I've been such like a Utah rider this year, and I believe in their team. They did lose their best tight end, who pretty much was their best pass catcher. I forget how you say his name. It's like Kuth or however you say his name. That scares me a little bit. They do have another good tight end, but they like using those double tight ends. They do run the ball very well. I love Cam Rising. Their defense is very good. The thing that's making me feel a little bit better, Utah, is what you just said, and I've seen that this week, that how well they do match up with UCLA, and that UCLA is kind of coming off this huge primetime win that everyone saw over Washington. Everyone's like, wow, like DTR is so good, which he is very good. This team's so good. They're kind of buying this team. They're starting to get some respect, and maybe Utah comes in and kind of spoils the party. Also, the only thing, even UCLA in a game like this, I don't expect the home field to be just like nuts. They're just not.
I know it's an early game. It's
just not. And
12:30 kickoff out west too.
So I'll lean Utah. Utah might find the way in the card, almost a loyalty to the team play. But it's hard for me because this is a spot where, just gambling spot, I'd usually like to bet UCLA here, getting points at home. But I do think Utah is better. So I'll lean Utah.
This is the Super Bowl, and this bet for me, I have UCLA 10-1 Pac-12 from before the year.
That's huge. Huge game.
This is the Super Bowl for it because there's no winning the Pac-12 South if you lose to Utah at home here. Period. This game is literally everything for that bet. So I've got a lot invested. Curious what kind of effort you expect out of Wisconsin moving on for Paul Chryst. Jim Leonard, extremely highly regarded, turned down the Packers defensive coordinator job. He's wanted this Wisconsin head job. Wisconsin's 10.5 and 44 at Northwestern. The interim bump's a real thing.
Yeah.
Leonard's loved and respected in the program. My only beef, he doesn't coach offense.
Yeah, this is a total stay away from me.
Me too.
I like and respect Wisconsin as a program. I think like the Big Ten's better overall. Like football's better when they are better. And I actually don't think Chris is a bad coach. I just think they just got into a spot where they're about to have the worst season they've had in decades. Can't run the ball. Defense isn't good. Quarterback play is just disastrous at times. It's kind of a nightmare start to the season for them when Ohio State's putting up 50-something against you, then you're getting just ran all over by Illinois. At home, that's just embarrassing. That's just not Wisconsin football. But for this game, I agree with the interim bump. I like Jim Leonard a lot, but stay away.
44 seems high to me.
Yeah, just for me.
I think 44. I think Wisconsin 20-10 here a lot, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, let's talk about your Ohio State Buckeyes. Boy, the story of this game isn't really Ohio State. It's Michigan State has fallen off a lot of people thought they overachieved last year, and I'm not surprised they stepped back a little, but they've fallen off a cliff. They got smacked at Washington. Maryland got them last week. Now they're catching 27 at home against the Buckeyes.
Well, I think a big part of that is what we did to them last year. For those who remember, that was the game we were up 49-0 at half.
Yeah, and it was a 7.
Stroud threw for like 6 touchdowns. And that was when we were top 10. Just an absolute massacre. Some are saying we might have neutered the program since then. I don't know. I love the over because I think we're going to be able to score pretty much as we want to score.
65.
And I think they have some playmakers. Quarterback's not totally awful. Thorne, I think they'll be able to score a little bit. So love the over. I would lay the points to Ohio State even. I just think if we want to cover this game, we will. They're just not good. We're just light years better. They're going to have no ability to stop us on defense. So, I don't know what they're going to do. But I like the over. Lean Ohio State.
It's 27. It's just, God, that's rough on the road. From your alma mater to my alma mater, laying 17. Love seeing the number 9 by Ole Miss, man. This is glory, man. I've been an Ole Miss fan forever, a long, long time. Never been through anything like what's going on right now. Lane Sugar Bowl last year, 5-0 in the baseball national title. This is, I feel like this is an alternate universe. Ole Miss laying 17 in the SEC's greatest rivalry. Every year, Ole Miss and Vandy play, and the stands are sold out. People are tailgating for the game for years because that's the Ole Miss's common opponent, Vandy. So it's Ole Miss 17, 61. It's weird because Ole Miss has been playing great in first halves and kind of being off the gas second halves. It's been a thing so far this year. So that part of me wants me to take Ole Miss. But on the other hand, that was a slugfest physical game last week against Kentucky. And so I wouldn't be totally shocked if they came out a little sluggish in the first half against Vandy just off that last week. And Kiffin's doing the standard, don't drink the rat poison, all that, the coach speak. That's been going on all week. You got anything on this?
It's not a game I looked at it a little bit. It's not a game I'm probably interested in getting involved in, really.
I just think it's a game Ole Miss is just trying to get in and get out of there with the
That's
win.
kind of what I think.
And I don't want to lay 17 because I don't think they care to cut. I think they're going to try to jump up early and then just second half just get out of there.
That's kind of my mindset too, but I'm also not really – I don't really feel comfortable even betting on Vandy with the points. So
the one thing I will say, I don't know what is if you get player props sometimes are up for college. Watch out for Ole Miss freshman running back Quinshawn Judkins. Dude is a baller. He was a 3-star recruit, late get from Alabama last year. But, man, he had 106 yards last week. He's been going off. Zach Evans, the 5-star transfer from TCU, has been a little nicked up. And I think they're kind of really watching his workload, especially against Vandy. Watch out for Judkins over. Check what it is before, but I really think he could have like a 150-yard game here. All right, Washington laying 14 at Arizona State. Arizona State got me last week. I thought USC beat them by a million. They certainly did not. Very sluggish effort by USC. I got nothing, though. I don't want to lay 14 on the road with Washington. I'd rather lay 21 at home if it was in Seattle.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, no play for me.
Do you have any thoughts on interesting CUSA game, Western Kentucky plus 6.5 at UTSA?
The over.
Rematch of the championship game.
I know it's a high over. I'd probably take the over.
73.
Yeah, no, I like the over. I think both these teams score a ton. You can't really stop anybody. It's funny because I like Western Kentucky. Not as good as they were last year with Zappian, but I kind of like what they're doing. They just kind of grab a new quarterback that can just sling it, just bring him up and just keep running the same offense. I mean, they've still been one of the more potent offenses in college football. So I like the over. UTSA just always scares me. They just do this thing where even last week, like they did end up covering. But they just do this thing where they just play around and they just it's never easy. And I don't know. 6.5 is just, I could easily see them getting backdoored. So I like the over.
Okay. 73 is just so high. Southern Miss and Troy, the reason I bring it up is they're both undefeated against the spread this year. Two of the only teams.
I've actually been on Troy a couple of times. They've been good to me.
Troy by 6.5 at home, 44.5. Both teams under the radar have been covering like crazy. I don't have a pick on this game.
Yeah, me neither.
I just thought it was interesting. They're both
lean Troy, but not playing it.
Wake Forest and Army, I'm bringing up because last year the score was like 71-50 something. It's Wake 16.5 over under 65.5. Any thoughts?
I like the over. I just think Wake's going to score on anybody, and I just think if you watch Army, anybody that plays against them that has a good offense will score quite a bit, and I just think their ability to not play the triple option last year. Could you fix it? I mean, sure, but I mean, when these games are sandwiched between you're playing Clemson,
Florida State,
you're playing Florida State, then you have to play Army. There. It's just not a good spot to defend the triple option. And I think Army, even if they get down early, will be able to score enough to get over this total, 65.5.
When they scored 125 last year.
I think Wake Forest gets you 2/3 of it here. At least, and I think Army can get you the rest of the way.
Okay, here's a game that you thought before the year would be a huge discussed game this week, and that's Notre Dame BYU, and it's not getting mentioned at all. They're playing in Vegas. BYU, the reason I bring up Notre Dame unranked, favored by 3.5 over ranked number 16 BYU, over under 51. Line looks a little ratty.
Yeah, big time.
Looks like Notre Dame's side.
Yeah, I like the over as well. I would take Notre Dame as well. Even if you watched that game last week, it was the Thursday night game with BYU. Their defense is not very good, especially.
I don't think they're very good.
Especially on the road when they're not at home, they're a totally different team. I don't love Notre Dame's offense, but I think they're going to be able to score. the total just seems low to me. 51 just seems like a low number because I do think BYU will be able to score a little bit too. So I like the over. I like Notre Dame.
I'm taking Notre Dame. All right, next up, I know who I'm taking here, and this is a game that people are going to overlook, but it's the Red Bandana weekend, and I think BC's catching Clemson in a good spot off that NC State win. I think last week, game day, Clemson was here. All of a sudden now everybody thinks Uiagalelei is like a Heisman contender. And now Clemson's laying 20.5 at BC in the Red Bandana game. I'm taking BC in the points here for sure. And I might even put like a $12, something, just a tiny bet on the BC under plus 850 just for the why not. But I just think it sets up for this game. Reeks of a Clemson letdown off that big win last week, and BC's gonna be fired up. I know BC's not good. I know that.
Yeah, the only thing is that I was gonna say that BC won last week, but Clemson's definitely not like a letdown.
No, and it's
Red Bandana. I don't know if I'll play it. I probably would lean taking the points at BC as well. But
what about BC first half here? Let's talk about that. They're going to be fired up. Clemson a letdown spot. We saw what happened with Clemson Georgia Tech when they blew them out second half. Is BC first half maybe the play here?
What do we got for that line?
Let's check it out.
They got it up there. I just can't see it.
I'm getting it. I'm on the more bet.
BC first half is plus 550.
What about the spread?
Half. The spread is it's plus 10.5, minus 114.
Did you say plus 550?
Plus 550, the money line. The spread is minus 10.
And that's something we've never discussed, but like first half money lines are actually a thing in college because so often you'll have like these letdown upset spots, but in the second half people just get too tired. And games get extended, and the better team blows them out. I think I'm gonna take the plus 5. You heard it here. That's gonna be my effort pick of tomorrow. BC plus 550 money line first half. Clemson on a letdown early in Boston College. All right, Illinois by 4 over. So saw something interesting. Barstool Iowa posted this on Twitter. Ev. 1 year ago, Iowa number 2 in the country. 1 year later, they're getting 4 at Illinois.
Yep.
Iowa football.
Yeah.
I couldn't take
They're
them.
bad. No, I want no part of this game.
Illinois is a little more explosive than people think. Play calling and Isaiah Williams, that wide receiver, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Kansas State by 1 at Iowa State. The reason I bring this game up, Iowa State hitting the old Mintz gambling trend. Lost as a road favorite last week at Kansas. Now they're a 1-point home dog. I'm taking Iowa State, throwing my card.
I love Iowa State. Also,
Okay.
already locked in for me as well. I think I got it plus 2. But regardless, I love Iowa State in this spot. I think they win the game. Good defense. Very good defense.
Yeah, they're going to be up for it, too. Kentucky, the line's gone down from 9.5 or 10 to 6, which makes you think a lot's been made about Will Levis' status. I don't think he's playing.
Doesn't seem like it.
I mean, if the line's moving like that, I don't think he's playing. If he doesn't play, I think this could be a pretty crappy game. I'm going to look at under 46.5 and maybe under first half. I think it's going to be pretty sluggish.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wish South Carolina was a team I could stomach putting my money behind, but I just can't. So it's a no play. It's like part of me wants to bet South Carolina so badly, but Rattler just is not good.
Oh,
and I believed him as long as I could. I've stayed on the train this year. The guy just doesn't play good ball. They're not a good team. They're not a disciplined team. I just don't like him.
South Carolina, the thing with them, Beamer, they really overachieved last year.
Yeah.
And Michigan State was the biggest overachiever last year that's crashed, but South Carolina, also in the same, maybe their cousin on that, and, they hadn't been able to sustain it. USC giving 13 to Washington State this week. Do you think Cam Ward and the boys can fight them?
I do. I like Washington State in the points.
Okay.
I like the plus there.
I didn't really like the efforts I've seen out of USC the last few weeks.
I'm telling you, I've been screaming it from the rooftops all year. They are the most overrated team in college football. I really believe that. They are just so due to get beat. If it's not this week, I'm telling you, Utah is going to spank them in Utah next week. But I really think Utah, Washington State gives USC a game.
Just a quick one. Watch out for UL Monroe plus 13 at home against Coastal. ULM they beat UL Lafayette 2 weeks ago at home. They've won some home games the last couple of years. They stink on the road. So this seems like a game they've been hanging in. Do you think NC State laying 3 at home against Florida State, is this a bounce back for the Wolfpack?
I kind of like Florida State.
Okay.
Call me crazy. The line just seems short.
It does seem.
It just seems small. 3, especially after coming off a bad performance at home against Wake, and NC State kind of had this big it's sort of gonna be a letdown. They had a big get up for this big game against Clemson that kind of could make or break their season, really put them over the top. They didn't get there. Florida State's coming off a bad performance, need a big performance. If it was 7, I'd be more inclined to be like, all right, like NC State should control this game. The fact that it's 3 makes me think that this is going to be like a last team touches the ball wins, or last team that scores wins kind of game. I kind of like Florida State +3.
Okay. I feel like it's just a close one. Alabama's 24 and 51.5 against A&M. Look, Bryce Young's shoulder, the big story of the week. I don't know everything. The Bama source that knows a lot in this office thinks he's leaning to not playing.
It makes sense. I mean,
if he ain't playing. I know Bama should still win, but I may look at under 51.5 if he's out.
Yeah, he didn't look terrible. The backup.
No.
He didn't look terrible against Arkansas. They were able to score quite a bit, especially run the ball. Yeah, I'm not going to play it. It's just not a game I'm going to play.
Quick question, Vince. Just curious. Who's the Bama source? Can we divulge?
Travie.
Oh, okay. That's what we were
he was saying. We were talking yesterday. He's like, I don't think Bryce is playing. So, fair enough. Oregon's 13 at Arizona. I'm just bringing this up because watch out. That one smells ratty. Arizona's giving them trouble at home.
Over.
Okay, 7.
I like the over. I know it's high, but.
Last couple, do you have any thoughts on Fresno, Boise? Obviously, no hangers.
Love Boise.
Yeah, Boise
like Boise a lot.
Hey, by the way, Boise's second half last week, they were losing.
No, they finally found their quarterback. Like the kid Green was really good once they put him in.
You know they got Dirk Cutter back.
And yes,
they brought him back to call plays.
His kid's a receiver on the team, Dirk Cutter, and Fresno without Hainer. I mean, they are heinous.
All right, and they lost their coach.
They lost to UConn.
Yeah, all right.
They really. I think this line 7 is really small. I think they spank them at home.
Oregon State 7 at Stanford. Anything?
No,
either. And that's so. All right, let's go ahead and get to our picks for today. Then, before we get into that, a few things to remind you: college football show 5:30 live at Rutgers. Blackout, baby. Sold out, right by the campus. It's gonna be freaking rocking. TJ's dad, TJ, Dave, Dan, all the Barstool superstars in attendance. Then right after that, live stream from Hoboken, Mets, Padres. It's gonna be nuts. All the Mets cast of characters: KFC, Clemmer, Rico, Frank, Meekfield, Kyle, Dave and Dan. And Dave is going to just be stirring the pot. This is going to be a vintage Dave performance. Very much looking forward to that. College football live stream tomorrow. We're doing the early games. We're doing noon Eastern from Hoboken. It's Tennessee, LSU, Tech, TCU, Kansas, Oklahoma. We'll probably catch some of Utah, UCLA, and multiple others. Join us for that. And then we'll be streaming NFL on Sunday. It's going to be from the office, I believe. So, bunch of live streams this weekend. Oh, yeah, Mets, Padres streaming Saturday night, too. That's everything.
Yep.
They're streaming that all the time. So I wanted to remind everyone of that. All right, let's get to some plays. Last night, I had a winning night thanks to Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan's underwhelming performance. See what I did there. Tonight, few plays. I kind of went through my baseball ones a little bit. I'm on the Rays. I'm on the over in the Cardinals, Phillies, the under in Blue Jays, Mariners, and I'm actually taking 2 slight dogs. I'm going Houston +2.5 because I think Memphis. Both these teams have fallen off, but I really think Memphis has fallen off, even though they used to be good at home. And I'm taking Rutgers. Sold out crowd +3. Nebraska ain't any good. Rutgers is going to be fired up on a Friday night. I'm all about it. Ev, what you got?
Yeah, so I said the baseball ones. I'm on Guardians in the over. I'm on Cardinals in the over for my football plays today. I always play my football plays more than my baseball plays.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, obviously same with me on that.
So the 3, I like 3 tonight a lot. I like Memphis, Houston over 57.5.
Okay.
They both just can't stop anybody. I think they both should be able to score quite a bit. A sneaky one that I like: Colorado State +3.5 at Nevada. I know Colorado State is bad. Nevada, I think, is honestly just as bad. Nevada's old coach, Jay Norvell, literally was the coach last year at Colorado State, now coming to there. I think she know a lot about him. I think can even win this game outright, but I'm taking the 3.5. And
chop it up.
3, baby. I'll see you guys at Piscataway. Let's go, Rutgers.
Hell yeah. You going to be in the cheesiest student section?
Isn't that your effort pick of the day?
That is Rutgers +3, my effort fireball pick of the day, number 1 shot in the U.S. Rutgers +3. You would sprinkle that money line for the people. Why not? But Rutgers +3 is the effort pick of the day.
Oh, free your fire, folks.
Free yo fire. Man, well, Rutgers should be rocking today.
Oh, yeah.
I know Rutgers has a great relationship with Barstool. And, man, I'm happy for TJ.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great night.
It was fun having him on to start the show. You know, he obviously used to run the RU Barstool account. And I just think this is just awesome for the school.
Oh, it's going to be a great night. I'm super excited to get down there. I'm leaving. I think I'm heading out and literally right after the show.
Rutgers D-line coach Marquise Watson was at Ole Miss last year. He was DMing me, all hyped, asking if I was coming for the college football show. So check that out. That's going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. As I mentioned, so many live streams this weekend. I know we didn't get to we didn't have time. We did NFL big yesterday, but I mean, huge NFL Sunday comes as well. Kind of a weaker lineup of games though.
Yeah, agreed.
But hey, Bengals Ravens Sunday's great though.
Oh yeah, Sunday night, big time Sunday night game.
That's kind of the game I'm looking forward to the most.
In London, Giants Packers in London, 9:30 a.m.
I'm talking myself into the Giants in the 8.
The more and more the week's gone on, the more and
Daniel
more.
Jones is playing.
You know, he is playing. I figured he was going to. They were saying he's progressing well. Now they're saying it's pretty likely he's going to play. He's looking good.
I just think 8's a lot for Green Bay to lay, and you saw that last week against New England. I mean, their offense ain't that good. 8's a ton.
Yeah, I'd kind of been telling myself all week I was afraid that this was going to be the game that they go and light us up. But the more we've gone on, the more I've talked myself into maybe we're a scrappy bunch. We give them a fight.
I feel like the Giants, the New York to London flights aren't too bad either. I mean, I think the Giants could have some fans.
I hope so. I really hope so. First London game for us ever.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to 8:30 start or 9:30 Eastern?
9:30 Eastern.
9:30 Eastern on Sunday. Also, just want to thank our crew, Zob, Booze, Ebo, loving it, doing a great job. Thanks to Fireball for your fire for sponsoring at Pick Central. Like and subscribe to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. Pick Central will be available as a podcast.
Hit a like right now before you get off. Hit a like.
Hit that like.
Hit us with a like. Hit us with a
Stay tuned. The Yak is up next. Check out the Barstool College Football Show live from Rutgers at 5:30 Eastern.